Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So earlier today we got an update from the Supreme Court in regards to two extremely important cases that have been sitting before the court since back in August of 2024. These two cases are Snope v. Brown and Ocean State Tactical v. Rhode Island. Now, if you guys have been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that I like to update you on the status of these two cases every Monday because to me, these are the two most important Second Amendment cases currently sitting before the Supreme Court. These cases tackle both the so-called quote-unquote assault weapons bans and magazine bans. So let's talk about what the update was today and what my new opinion is as of today as well. So let's get to it. This video is proud to be sponsored by American Hartford Gold. Listen, if there is one thing that those of us in the firearms community understand, it's that you cannot rely on the government for your protection. Not with your life, and especially not with your wealth. Look, throughout our lifetime, the dominance of the US dollar was unquestioned, but that may be changing. As we face unprecedented inflation, the world's biggest economies are ditching the dollar for the yen. Banks are failing left and right, and the government is discussing a total control of all of your money with the new digital dollar. Don't let your life savings become a casualty of failing corporations or currency wars. Now is the time to call the only precious metal dealer that I trust, American Hartford Gold. They'll show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your wealth portfolio with physical gold and silver. With the finest products, amazing customer service, and a buyback commitment. American Hartford Gold has a 5-star rating from thousands of reviews and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. American Hartford Gold supports content like this that is committed to bringing you the truth. Tell them I sent you and they'll give you up to $5,000 of free silver on your first order, so call them now. Click the link in the description or call 866-856-2507. That's 866-856-2507 or text COPPER to 65532. Okay, so let's go and talk about what the update is and what my new opinion is as well. Now, the one thing that's really been driving me nuts here, and I think it's been driving a lot of people nuts, is that the question about these so-called assault weapons bans and mag bans has already been answered in Heller. They were reaffirmed in Bruin, but in Heller, the court said, the Supreme Court already said that if they are in common use for lawful purposes, such as self-defense, then they cannot be banned. They are protected by the Second Amendment. But the lower courts have ignored Heller. They have ignored Bruin, and they've decided to work around that, just ignoring the fact that it is, one, the most popular semi-automatic rifle in the entire country, and that they exist in the millions, as well as magazines that exist in the millions. And so they've come up with different ways to say that they can ban them, like they're too similar to what's being used in the military, or they don't serve the public interest as far as self-defense actually goes, because the amount of times they're used isn't as great as maybe a handgun. They ignore the fact that they are in common use for lawful purposes like self-defense. Again, the questions that are being presented to the court here have already been answered. Now, both of these cases have been scheduled for conference about 7 times. They were rescheduled once, and during that rescheduling time, there was about a 2-week period before they were then reconferenced again. So we have been waiting since late November, early December for a decision on whether or not the Supreme Court is going to accept or deny these two cases. And that's kind of the way that I've been looking at it, but kind of a black and white situation here. Are they going to accept it? Are they going to deny it? They're going to kick it back down to the lower court. But there is another option that the court has. Now, today, just this morning, they rescheduled it yet again. So now these two cases are scheduled for their 8th conference coming up this Friday. So the 21st, these two cases are going to be scheduled again. Now, I want to talk to you guys about the other option, the other thing that I think the court might be working on here, which is extremely important. Now, I for one hope that this Friday, the Supreme Court decides to accept these cases and hears these cases, because I believe that if they do, it's going to overturn all of these bans nationwide. There is just no way to look at this through the lens of history and tradition and uphold the existing bans that are out there in all of these different states. Now, the other option is that the court could issue a per curiam opinion, which basically is an opinion in the name of the court, right? So they could come out with an opinion that doesn't have any names on it whatsoever. It's just a short opinion that says, look, we want you guys, you guys being the lower courts, we want you to apply the in common use test to these. So instead of taking the case and rehearing everything and hearing oral arguments and going through that entire process, instead they basically just tell the lower courts that you got it wrong, to take a look at common use and to reaffirm Heller and say that if they are in common use, regardless of whether or not they're similar to what's being used in the military or whether they're used more or less in self-defense, but if they're in common use for lawful purposes, then you must find that they are protected by the Second Amendment. Now, when it comes to per curiam opinions, it could just be that short opinion. However, it could be taking this long, and the reason why it might be taking this long is because in this particular opinion, each particular judge might actually write whether or not they consent or dissent from that court's opinion. Now, to me, while a per curiam opinion would be better than, let's say, the Supreme Court just simply denying them and letting the lower court's opinion stand, I still think that the Supreme Court needs to accept these two cases because they need to correct all of the unconstitutional infringements that have happened across the country, right? We need to make sure that the lower courts understand that these are in common use for lawful purposes, that there are no historical analogs that justify the bans as they stand today, and we need that Supreme Court precedent to uphold that and maybe even stop any other potential bans that we could see kind of move down the pipeline in the future. We need something solid here from the Supreme Court. And so while they might be working on an opinion like that, I'm still hopeful that they'll end up accepting these cases. I don't see why they would spend this much time, right? I mean, again, since late November of 24, early December of 24, here we are in the middle of March now, why they would spend that much time if they were just going to deny it and send it back down to the lower courts. For me, the longer it takes here, and again, we're in the 8th conference now, the better chance that I feel we have that they're actually going to do something productive here. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be. Again, without a crystal ball, nobody really knows unless you have a seat there, at the conference with the justices. There's no way you know. But I'm hopeful that, again, they didn't just waste our time. It is very possible that they still deny them. We can't let that go. But I'm hoping, again, that we have seen multiple reconferences and reschedules, all because they are working towards the goal of correcting the problem that's out there right now. So I wanted to let you guys know about that, and I wanted to let you know that there are other options other than just accepting it or denying it. There are other things that the court can do to try and fix the situation here. So again, I wanted to let you know about that. I wanted to give you that update today, and I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps us out here a lot. Thumbs ups are always appreciated as well. The little alarm bell will let you know when new videos come out. And you guys have a great day.